There is no take two in this life, my friends, as I say my first words of the day to you and everybody in the surrounding apartments over here in Berlin, Germany. Welcome back. Let me fix this. Maybe there is a take two. We're not going to do that today. Welcome back. I have a haircut and another hard deadline. Look at how beautiful this work is. Anyway, Artist Journal, January 26, 2024, broadcasting from a spectral place in the nervous system. This ship that I'm seeing here is not made of wood and planks, but of light. And why? I don't know. It is simply what I see, my friends. Welcome back. My name is Adrian Pocobelli. Happy Friday. You excited? I was joking to myself. Do you miss me? I'm sure all of you miss me. It's only been 18 hours probably since we last talked for those that are watching, and a big thank you again to those that do watch and are paying attention, commenting, retweeting, and everything. To a certain degree, I think I'd do it if nobody was watching. That was the kind of commitment to myself that I'd made, but that's easier said than done. It's easier said than done, and so very likely, as I was about to say here, that is likely the fuel of this fire. So thank you for feeding it, giving it the oxygen it needs. So without further ado, we do have to sail at, high speeds here through the sea, through the high seas, the imagination here. All right, let's go. Inigo, let me get the name right. It's got the Spanish pronunciation, Bilbao. Inigo Bilau, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, with some very interesting works here. Of course, Mickey Mouse, this works, someone actually maybe put all the comments together, and we're going to look at the tweet of someone who is looking at these works and commenting. So we'll look at that in a second, but as that person was commenting, of course, Mickey Mouse has been or Steamboat Willie, has been in the news because, of course, the copyright disappeared. So relevant, topical with that. And here we have this. At first, I didn't realize this was AI. But, of course, when you look up close here at this very, very interesting work, you start to see what I would call the hallmarks, the traits, the characteristics of AI. And the possibility, the artistry, again, the potential. One of my favorite words in Greek, actually it is my favorite word, is dynamis. D-Y-N-A-M-I-S. You pronounce the Y like a U sometimes. Dynamis. And it has three translations. This is kind of Neoplatonism very quickly here as the coffee hits. Three very cool translations into English or usages: power, dynamis, potential, and possibility. And so here we see the dynamis of AI, the power, the potentiality, and possibility wrapped up. Possibility is power. Potentiality is power to a certain degree. Again, language is slippery here, but again, the dynamis of AI, I submit to you in this gorgeous composition here. And this part up here, it actually took me a while to see it. Kind of outrageous. To a certain degree, one might even be tempted because of its difference in its centrality in the composition, its kind of different look to it. One might even be tempted to erase it, but not. But it's left in here. As again, it's almost like the bear with the stretched neck. And I heard from a friend actually this morning, love the bear with the stretched neck. That piece, I think it hit a nerve because of, again, its simplicity. Here I am talking about it 3 days later. That is the power of that Martin Bruce work of the bear. Now, this is Inigo Bilau. Just like the city there. So again, really, really, really interesting. Again, you almost see like this photocopy type paper texture, which, you can't help but feel adds to the work here as well. It's almost like here is like the particles of dust and hair that might have got stuck in the photocopier. So that also adds to the persuasiveness of this image. And like, what on earth is over here? These almost look like just splotches, almost like bugs, you know. And again, so the remixing capacity, dare I say, of AI, isn't that interesting? Now we have more here. And so let's continue here. So Inigo Bilau is the artist here. No confusion, no surprise on Object Super Rare. So we have another work here too, which was quite powerful. More textured, feeling almost more painterly, kind of just a cryptic 2 black circles here, maybe for the eyes. Nicely done, frankly. Let's look closer here at this. And here you almost see the smile. So again, the 3 eyes, making decisions almost looking inverted over here. You see the decisions that, and then mixed with this painterliness, for lack of a better term, even though it doesn't look like paint, this texture. Quite brilliant, the results, are they not? And the prompting, and we have to say, and the work of the artist. Because it's so easy to say, well, oh, that's just a prompt, the AI did it. But had the artist not made that prompt, had the artist not made 1,000 decisions likely, or thousands of decisions, maybe millions, leading up to that moment of putting in this prompt and deciding all the education and everything, this would likely, if not certainly, this potentiality here would not be actualized. To use our Aristotle very vaguely here, and hopefully not too pretentiously. All right, let's keep going here. So, nice result, hey? All to say, nice result. I thought Marco encapsulated it so good. I almost felt scooped here by Marco here. Pieces like this should be in a museum someday, Inigo. Sometimes I get overly enthusiastic, but this is a rare example of contemporaneity, control, skilled usage of a medium, current theme, indeed, with the Steamboat Willie, coherence with previous production, pop culture, you name it. Indeed. Beautifully put, Marco, who is MG DeAngelis. Wonderful commentary here. And indeed, we talk about the zeitgeist. Talk about capturing the zeitgeist here. It's got it all, to a certain degree, to Marco's point. In a sense, our museum of the imagination, or newspaper of the imagination, are that we open up this morning and look at what's going on here. Check. Problem solved. With mission accomplished. We have more. And again, it's just very interesting, because then you go over to the local, museums here, contemporary, and you go, is this doing what, what this is doing? Are they doing what this is doing? And they probably can't, just by virtue of the speed of the medium. It takes months to put together shows. So another advantage we have out here in the digital world, before they know what happened, it's already yesterday's news, one could argue. Now, let's look further at Inigo Bilau. No confusion, no surprise is the kind of the I had to come up with this. When I joined Object here, I was like, okay, I need a tagline. So I was like, well, traveling through the mediums pretty much encapsulates it. So anyways, here's another one. No confusion, no surprise. Inigo Bilau. So here's the work on Object. Now, interestingly, doesn't look exactly like the other work. So what this might represent here with this kind of Mickey illustrations is a kind of breakthrough work. We might be early on this came out a few days ago, by the way. I'm probably kind of late. A lot of you have probably already seen that. But kind of a breakthrough work here. And so it'll be interesting to see what else Inigo does along those lines, and just more interesting work. I think it's all AI here. Again, loving the black and white. And here, there's nothing wrong with your television sets. This is on Super Rare. So an artist on Super Rare, I believe AI artist maybe is a loose way we could categorize, or an artist that makes AI work. Another interesting discovery, as I like to say here, another day, another masterpiece. Another day, another masterpiece here. And here is the other one. Actually, we have two. Dare I say, you don't want to use the term too loosely, but nevertheless. So let's continue on here with our show. So thank you for the comments. This was quite interesting. Atlas Pop. Dynamite show and the hair held. Thank you. It's barely holding together here. And yes, running out the door as soon as this finishes in order to continue for the hair to hold. Thank you for the comment. Also, speaking of AI, IP, artificial intelligence, intellectual property, the big debate. There's an interesting article in the Times on it, generated by AI and copyrighted by Warner Brothers. The problem with the Times doing this is they're going to court with Microsoft and ChatGPT, so they're not exactly going to be, so they're going to have a vested interest in making ChatGPT and Midjourney and AI work look as if they're ripping off things as much as possible. All that just to qualify the context of the source here. We asked AI to create the Joker. It generated a copyrighted image by Stuart Thompson. In a sense, like they got an axe to grind, the New York Times, because of course they're going to court with ChatGPT, saying that their articles have been basically scraped and then kind of remixed through the bot, which I don't disagree with. But back to the article that Little Cakes was referring to in Alain Servet, my kind of guilty pleasure Twitter account, maybe the AI or the IP is what needs to be questioned to a certain degree. But here, I mean, because this looks pretty damning, though, to be fair to New York Times. So create an image of Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie 2019, screenshot from a movie. Well, okay, so, and then you get this. And here's the copyrighted image. So the top one is the AI generated image. Now, that's not putting the Joker, make an image of the Joker, though, into Midjourney. That's putting a very specific reference here. It's almost gaming, I would argue. And I understand the concern here. But I also remember Anis Abdin's Twitter space that we did, or X space on Wednesday. And you see how aggressive Hollywood is on just protecting their IP, even in unfair situations. So I don't really necessarily feel a huge amount of pity for Hollywood either when it comes to IP, especially for image. So I was going to say for the Joker, but this is of a movie. I mean, I was going to say the Joker's how old now, but this is different. This is from a movie. This is a still. So very interesting article generated by AI, copyrighted image from Marvel at the bottom here, and then generated by AI. So, and what is the popular movie screen cap? Is that surely that's not yeah, so they're a little weird with how they're doing this. Like, they should be putting the exact prompt on here, in my opinion, if they're actually trying to get to the truth and say, this is the situation, this is exactly what's happening. But really, they're using this prompt here as actually kind of what looks like a subtitle of the article. Does it not? Like a header of new part of the, I don't know what that is. Is that what they put in? Is popular movie screen cap? And then, I guess that's what it is. Okay, it is this. They put this in, they get this, and then New York Times goes and finds Iron Man, a similar image. Probably doing the reverse image search on Google, interestingly, I would imagine. Here's the prompt again. So they are doing that. Create an image of Dune movie screen cap 2021 Dune movie trailer generated by AI. So pretty damning when you see it here, because then let's say I'm the quote unquote artist who makes this. So again, it's getting so convoluted. Are we going to kill the technology now? Because it basically, didn't we see this in music to a certain degree? And ultimately, I think the result is if you transform the James Brown, loop enough, if you just do a direct sample, okay, you're guilty of infringement. But if you start transmuting it, it's kind of back to fair use, which we seem to be losing a little bit. Here's another one, The Last of Us 2, Ellie with guitar. And so this is generated by AI, and this never loaded up. So we'll just leave it here. We can try one more time. Sometimes the paywall will come in. So, yeah, I think we get the idea here. So just to kind of keep us aware of the conversation here, because, of course, lawmakers in the U.S. will likely be reading this. And so, again, we're not seeing the benefits of AI from New York Times. We're going to see a certain point of view. Thank you for sending that over, Atlas Pop. And thank you, Tez Nouns, again. Great to hear from you. That was, again, a true internet honor there. An illusional, loving the Nuv works, indeed. Insider, appreciate the appearance once again, Poco. Awesome episode. This is about my work summer. It is a zoomed-in body, indeed, holding a drink. Interesting. So there is representational aspect to that. I never saw that. So awesome. Thank you for the comment and the context. Cider, also Nuv, great to hear from you. Awesome. And Gogolitis, great to hear from you. And Marcel Munchianu, amazing episode. Now I can show it to everyone who says that NFTs are boring and ugly and about monkeys. Especially, I love that wonderful introduction with comments about the words of Nub 1914. Thank you. Your reflections about it here collected together, and they amazingly express our accumulated feelings of freshly new ways of aesthetic enjoyment. The way which are losing by the people who are not yet involved, in delight about this new world of digital art. Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Like, it's basically the equivalent of walking in the contemporary art gallery and going, I don't understand this, so this sucks, right? And oftentimes that's an accurate statement. You know, like, I'm pretty skeptical these days, having gone to a million art shows, and I go, you know what? Oftentimes there's nothing behind the facade of pretentiousness, but sometimes there is. And I would argue, say, with Nub 1914 is a great, it starts to get into avant-garde decisions, which are counterintuitive, right? And when we see it consistently and then done well, and you add up all the things together, and then you go, oh, this is actually zeroing in, it's stretching our aesthetic understanding. This is not, you know, taking advantage of us intellectually and kind of, you know, giving us the equivalent of a bad joke. So yeah, I'm glad you feel that way. It's quite interesting. Risarto, thank you for the comment, and Ask Knights, thank you. And so we looked at this, and so continuing on, Fake Whale. So there was this open call, and it was kind of vague. A groundbreaking release from Object.com and Fake Whale about to make waves. Only a few slots are available. To apply as a featured artist, email Fake Whale at Gmail or share an unminted work in the thread. The deadline is January 30th. So Fake Whale, of course, doing a few shows. I don't know a ton about them, but they've done a lot of collaborations in the past, I think, with Die With The Most Likes, right? And Xerox, I think, on that. So we've seen Fake Whale collaborating through time here, and I actually brought up their website because I actually don't know too much, although they're a common name, and probably a lot of you do know more than I do. I thought an interesting ad, kind of reminiscent of the opener there, with almost this kind of photocopier feel, traveling through the mediums. Look at the text here. The text, like, I love produced text and stuff like this. It's just, I love this stuff. So very interesting work here. Now, let's look at, I thought to myself, I don't need to do the show today. I can just go through this field. And yeah, there's no theme. Popple wondering if there's a theme. Mikey de la Creme. So just a little preview of some great works here. Look at how great that looks. By Mikey de la Creme, In Bed, Blues Player. That, so Crazy Ant. So all to say, you can check it out. There's The Eternal Return here. And there's one by, I want to highlight here, just give you a taste of it. This one by Dan Control. Look at the batteries. I love it. So again, playing with this pop, almost has a bit of a Tom Wesselman feel to it in Dan Control's work. He's stretching his, he's really pushing things, and he experiments a lot. Again, kind of this avant-garde-ness that we're describing here with playing with what's acceptable or not many times in the past. And I think this is the payoff. You do that enough, you start to come up with some pretty brilliant ideas, and you make enough work, a lot of work, if you're prolific, you end up with really great work like that. Also from Fake Whale, the quality of works minted on Tezos has been a cornerstone of this new digital art movement. Indeed, the time has come to turn the spotlight back onto this ecosystem. In recent months, we've been working behind the scenes with Object.com, so more kind of breadcrumbs here, to continue innovating and optimizing the possibilities for artistic expression and evolution. So we shall see what is happening here. You can tell it's part of the same campaign. We shall see. There's some code, so who knows what they're up to. I went to Fake Whale's website, though. Let me bring up the homepage, because I hadn't been here for a while, and it was interesting. They have all these articles here, and I think they mix them with interviews, because they have interviews here. So, and I saw there was, so I think these are interviews from people in the scene, and then here, I think these, to be perfectly frank. They have these articles on Corey Archangel, which kind of looked. I mean, I saw the thus here. It kind of looks ChatGPT a tiny bit. Not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way, especially if you're using it as copy editing, and it may not be. But just kind of a observation there. In this very elaborate article on Corey Archangel, they had Hito style. So all to say, what I think this shows is this is another player who is attempting to bridge. We see VerseWorks. Here's another player attempting to bridge, I would argue, when you see stuff like Hito style, who people in the digital world might not be as familiar with, but in the contemporary art scene, especially here in Berlin, you'll see her at the top of the top 100 most influential artists. I don't agree with that, but you will see that, like kind of a art world staple here, Hito style. And here, another very long, elaborate article. So, what's interesting about, and again, someone may have wrote this, but I don't see an author name too, which kind of, do you see an author name? Yeah. We'll look at the bottom. Sometimes it's there. Yeah. So the problem, so this is very likely AI text. You know what's weird about AI, like a phenomenon? When you read AI text, it feels, for whatever, it's probably even better to a certain degree than a real person, but sometimes I don't want to read it as much when it is. But I don't want to go too far on this. And it's probably going to be, it's probably really smart. From an SEO perspective, I should probably take a page out of their notebook there and figure stuff like that out. I'll just say, and this looks like real interviews here, so to speak, because I saw Graphika.png. So here are people from the scene that they have interviewed. Anyway, should be interesting. KenicZ. Hello, Object.com people. I noticed something in the last few days. So speaking of curation. Something I would have never thought possible, but there are curation bots. Yeah, that's right. Bots that curate art in real time. Maybe at a certain point, curation will be automated. Those new art species critters, a hybrid, it's a wonder of art nature, and their curation skills are so fast that you might wonder if there are a few kind of spam, the curation spam. Interesting. The curation spam. I mean, you could probably take this. I wonder if you could take all the videos that have been made, say, on this show, and feed that into an AI at some point. Maybe it's too early to do that, but maybe not. And then maybe the show just makes itself at a certain point. I don't know, but kind of interesting that there are curation bots. And back to Graphika here. Can the artist be the art? So Unknown Collector posted this, the end of Graphika.png. Web3's anonymity and the possibility to track their body of work to one wallet allows us to rethink an artist's identity, how to approach being an artist. This is the story of Graphika PNG and the end of it. The artist jangled through the culture of Web3, capturing its essence, its anomalies, and stories with their unique and innovative use of AI glitches, distortions, unusual composition, and character building. They built a following, a large collector base of hundreds of collectors, and now the story will end just like that. This may sound crazy to most, because of course they built up all this, for lack of a better term, credibility, where they put out an image, Graphika.png puts out an image, and then there's already a collector base for it. So just an interesting post here. And finally here, so Graphika did what only the truest artists dare. They torched their creation, preserving the sanctity of their art in a blaze of glory. You know what that evokes in my mind? Virgil's Aeneid we're discussing, basically right up there with the Odyssey and the Iliad. The story goes, maybe apocryphal, probably not, that he wasn't happy with it and he wanted to burn it. And Caesar Augustine said, do not burn that, as far as I understand the story, so we still have it today. Isn't that wild? So back to this. Did what the truest artists dare. They torched their creation, preserving the sanctity of their art in a blaze of glory. It is a middle finger to the sellout culture, a stand for purity of creation. Could be, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not. Sure, it's many things. It's probably also on a creative front, feeling I've done what I want to do with this project, and so I'm happy to tie a bow on it and go, that's it. Perhaps. I mean, who knows? This is the end of Graphika, but is it the end of the artist behind the pseudonym? The answer is easy, no. So here's some interesting pieces here by Graphika PNG, who has put out some pretty rad artworks over the last year. So interesting development there. RJ, how to explain the internet to a dead hair. So we have more details on this. So here, so in 1965, boys carried around a dead hair around a gallery, pausing to explain the pictures on the wall to the body of the animal. This piece is a digital reenactment of Boy's original performance. By following the URLs in the description, you can turn your own computer screen into a play on Boy's works by situating a photo of a dead hair amongst open browser windows. A potential arrangement of these windows can be viewed at deadhairs.xyz. So making a website too. So you can create your own. This is just one arrangement, and you can use whatever websites you wish, and you're very encouraged to do so. For each arrangement that is created and shared will be uploaded to deadhairs.xyz, and 7 days after the minting of this NFT, it will be sent to one randomly selected artist who contributes to the site. Together we will create a gallery of dead hairs, and together we will explain the internet. So interesting project here from RJ, and here Arty Hands is in. So something like this. So Arty Hands contributes. And of course, we looked the other day at RJ's version. So here, Arty Hands, and there's the hair. So interesting conceptual piece, August Ground, with a version here. So all very cool and very fun. And here's another work, actually, by RJ. So RJ going very conceptual here, playing off of, I guess this would be Jeff Koons. I mean, it's kind of funny. I was thinking at first Damien Hirst. But, of course, Koons did the basketball in the water, right? I never thought of that. Like the picture of the dead shark by Damien Hirst, or like the container of the dead shark. It's kind of a similar piece, isn't it, to Koons' basketballs. Here we have an old iMac. So interesting in a casing here. But it's ambiguous, though, of course, and RJ also playing with representation, as we saw in that piece the other day, putting the definition on one side, the actual representation of a computer desk, and then a picture of a computer desk, of course, all within the context of an image. Here, it's actually ambiguous if this is like a container where it's floating in water, or if it's actually an image on a wall, interestingly. So interesting work there from RJ, continuing on the conceptual front. And here it is on Foundation. So RJ, going conceptual here. Pretty interesting. Also, I thought this was really interesting on the kind of curation, essays, and whatnot, discussion front. KF, Kyle Flemmer. Calling all pixel people, I wrote an essay about Michael Micasso's DOS Age masterpiece, Sanguis Quesitas. It's one of my all-time favorite artworks, and I think you should take a closer look. Let me take you on a guided tour. Link to my essay on Medium article below. And of course, one of these awesome, actually combination works by mech.txt, Michael Micasso, combining the DOS, the MS-DOS tiling with pixel art. Really cool work here. So Kyle Flemmer has written and there's Kyle, has written an essay here, Tezos Art Review, written in blood. Tezos Art Review on Sanguis Quesitas by mech.txt, the evolution of pixel art, and collecting on Tezos. So here, isn't it beautiful? There it is. The tile set of Ultima 4. Yeah. So just very cool. And then this awesome mech.txt work here. And so it looks like my understanding, I think Mech basically took some of the tile set here as inspiration, but brilliantly transformed it and made it his own. So changed the grass, changed the trees. I kind of want to do that to a certain degree, but it's kind of been done to a certain degree. But all to say, just really awesome. I've been there, by the way, the Colossus of Rhodes and Rhodes. There's nothing there. If you go to Rhodes and you go and look for the Colossus of Rhodes, what you'll do is you'll see these bricks here. There's going to be no statue because it's gone. And then you'll see just a tiny little plaque that says this is where the Colossus of Rhodes was. And that's it. That is it. So kind of funny there, actually. So all to say, look at this. And look at this Kyle Flemmer mech.txt collaboration. Very nice collab, by the way. So super cool here. So more writing is occurring here. and more physical art. And I have to say, I was very impressed by this work by Uxine here. Look at this. Okay, so screen prints. This really so first of all, they look pretty great, especially when you look at the bottom, like right here, with all this kind of fancy mark making. You look at the top left and you see how, oh, okay, interesting. And just, it's all the noise, so to speak, and all the errors that really kind of give this a lot of character, you know, giving that kind of Warholian feel to it. This is also impressive. Hand-built screens, interesting. Sun exposed. You know who does sun exposed for canvases is actually Julian Schnabel, from my understanding. You'll see these kind of beautiful, what would you call them? Tarps, T-A-R-P-S, that they'll be stretched across, from my understanding, that Julian Schnabel will stretch across and leaving, you know, somewhere outside and leaving the sun for like a few weeks. And then that becomes the canvas. And then whatever junk kind of hits, you know, wind falls in, you start getting this interesting backdrop. So when I saw Sun Exposed from Uxine, I thought, how cool is that? No hinged clamps. And so interesting. So not worrying, in a sense, about registration being perfect. In other words, maybe holding it down and just not tightening things down with clamps, which is part of the screen printing method. Water-based ink. Interesting. So you kind of see the sun-drenched colors here. Makes you wonder how long they were outside. Really, really nice work here. Really nice translation. You know, transmutation, transmogrification of pixel art into physical. Very nice. And this was just sent to me, screen print on paper from 2021. So I thought, why not? I don't show everything that's sent to me, but I thought, why not? Hermanos Cutter, thank you for the 1 of 1. And nice screen print, since we were discussing it here. Cool work. Nice, you know, there's something to be said for the 1-color screen print, because you basically put, you know, you notice Uxine did 2 colors. Keeping it simple has its merits. And you see it looks pretty good here, it looks pretty good there. And it can really simplify your life, particularly in terms of registration. Here, this is Vinnie Hager. Diary prints dropped off to me to get framed this weekend. Digital meets physical. So another great drop by Vinnie Hager. So here, it looks like here's number 35, number 36. So each one maybe is different, perhaps. I'm not exactly sure how these are made, if they're prints or inkjet, or if it's something else, but pretty nice looking prints here and nicely treated here. Edition of 3100. But it looks like every one is different, doesn't it? But hard to say. I don't know, just based on the picture there. So as we go into the works here, this is Yogando Pieo, and this is on Zora. And so interesting work here. Digital Zala, here it is possible to return to childhood and play Piao. Brazilians enjoy themselves and gather to watch this object rotate. 185 minted. And so, again, kind of one of these airbrush works, seemingly. I assume it's digital. Just a cool looking work. Kind of looks like a clown there with like a carrot, a couple of vegetables with heads on it, and a screen. Just an interesting piece. And again, 185 mints. And from my recollection, you get about $2 a mint here in the fees on Zora. So, I mean, nice result, and still open for minting for another 5 hours. So how cool is that? The mint started January 19th, so a 1-week mint, 185, pretty good. Zora, I mean, it's impressive. You know, I keep being really impressed with Zora. And how the resilience of the collector base there, and just everything. This is Nov 1914 Visitas. This is 9 Tezos. This is a 1 of 1. So, of course, by the artist we started with yesterday, we see kind of the same almost ping pong net, tennis net kind of look at the bottom. And then you see 2 people made of circles here. Quite a beautiful 1 of 1. Visitas, maybe visiting. Paseo 3. Again, we see the same kind of similar structure, but 1 person here. In the as the subject here, and this is 8 Tezos 90. So interesting variation in prices here. Here's Vozo with a new work, Leaving Home. a mysterious one from Svozo. More minimal. Just another fantastically interesting artist here. 3 Tezos, edition of 20. And here is an artist I saw on Twitter, on X, Seiji, super humble, Akihabara. And here it is. Some just interesting piece here with some Japanese text, kind of a new artist to look at here. Akihabara, maybe Stadium, and interesting, right? And do we have a description on... based on, but my art is not just part of it. No, I don't see the actual. So this is a GIF, and this was minted January 7th. New work by Martin Bruce, Luna, as we run through this episode, Pink Moon. So going back to the, what looks like a bit of a analog video glitch layer here on top of a painting, as you can see here, and it looks quite painterly. In the brush strokes here and looking like a car. Probably my favorite part is the light right here, actually coming out of the car. The most surprising part of it. And of course, Martin did that incredible bear that we saw a couple of days ago, earlier in the week. So all to say, nice brushwork here. Looks like, again, a combination of physical and digital. Interesting subject. And this is 10 Tezos each, edition of 12. Love this piece by Lorna Mills. Do-si Do. Of course, she gets all her titles from horse race, from racehorses, by the way. So she said. And you know what I liked about this piece? I thought it was kind of, it felt like I've been talking about these summary works that almost just summarize the artist in one work. And I felt like this was kind of a summary work. This is almost, to me, like Lorna Mills herself. It's almost a self-portrait of sorts. Kind of rolling around laughing, making her art here, and doing it in the really classic style here, taking this internet imagery, again, kind of marquee tool, selection tool, and manually creating this mask and animation. Animated GIF, this is 20 Tezos and edition of 32. Bleu 281, this is on Instagram, so I'm not sure if it's older or newer, but I thought a pretty nice, interesting piece here. From Blue 281. We'll see if we can make it a little bigger. Just really original art here. Kind of a digital thing going on. You see interesting kind of framing here with the interesting gradient that you'd find on often like a NUV work, which is interesting. And then you get this really kind of detailed, pixelated interior and just interesting. I'm not quite sure what to process out of it, but just random kind of, not... seemingly random, may not be random, but hard to kind of understand what this is. And then I go to the title. So an enigmatic work, as I'm trying to say here. Gummy Shelter by Mumbleboy. Another cool digital collage here. 4 Tezos, edition of 3. Nice low edition here. And here, again, you see up close. Interesting, these gradients here. Kind of has a 1980s kind of feel to it, doesn't it? In the grid... and almost these kind of neon happy, like this like a late 80s, early 90s kind of bright colors and that optimism almost at that time. Izanami, and this is an edition of 1, and it's sold for 12 Tezos to an anonymous collector. So very cool. And as you see here, all sorts of wizardry going on in this work when you look up close. Again, a digital collage. Looks like perhaps there's a little bit of digital painting interspersed and a whole bunch of interesting masking and cutouts, so to speak. It's interesting how these are being cut out, isn't it? And managing to make a very consistent style out of it. Just cool work. Jake Studios, another work, Baptism by Fiat. Playing on the religious theme again, interestingly, with these palm trees in the background. And we see what looks like almost like an ancient Egyptian type ritual here. And then maybe there's water in here and you see one big eye, maybe representing the all-seeing eye of of God here through these. And then you have, maybe this is the baptismal water. Again, it's always suggestive. It's always intuitive. It's never obvious. It's never didactic with Jake Studios here. And here, again, these figures look like they're helping enact a ritual as you see the fire around it. Just really interesting piece. Edition of 10, 7 Tezos, 77 each. August Ground picking up a copy. Just minted. Pamelo Chirone. Another just Really cool work. I love the title, or at least the text, Plow, Pam, writing the name of the artist here, and there's the text, Plow. Just really fun and interesting as usual. Santiago, if we had to communicate that meant nothing specifically and nothing broadly tonight, this is 5 Tezos, so probably an AI title here, and another classic. Look at this. This one's dithered, because oftentimes with Santiago, we'll find the, this is pixelated, that's what I basically mean by dithered. Often we'll find like vector. So interesting to look up close on this one. It gives a bit of a different feel, doesn't it? Different texture. Very interesting. Nice big piece here. Edition of 20 and selling away here. So nice work here. Our Presti, a Strato number 7, and another interesting abstract here, and could basically hang in the same room, couldn't it? Kind of a similar kind of feel to it, but much more minimal, but still kind of a digital pixelated abstract here, static abstract, playing with just different digital forms, and just a nice take on abstraction here. Here, Cream Safa with sounds by Localos, Invalid Objects. So this is an edition of 20, and it is selling for 32 Tezos on primary. Let's a little bit of drum and bass. Pretty cool sounds. Let me see if I can stop that. Very cool work there, Cream Safa. So a collaboration with Localos. And that is on Object, just minted. And Digital KenicZ, Renedo Marini with an interesting piece. This is 10,000, but only 10 Tezos cents for this very interesting digital object here. An interesting touch on the question marks, which look like they're again out of a window. So taking something we've seen with Mac, we've seen a few different artists do this. It's been kind of a trope where you take, a part of the operating system iconography and then you play with it and you manipulate it. And interesting piece here, because this question mark, again, it kind of looks like it's out of an operating system, if I had to guess, or at least a video game. Cool work, almost free. Hati Rocket, Zizzle Pop, interesting abstract here. Let's see if we can make it bigger. Look at that. So cool experimentation here from Hati Rocket. And this was minted on hand. And how many editions? Only one edition. Only one edition. Twin Turbo. This is also by Hati Rocket. This is, I guess, playing off a racing game here. And really the master, one of the masters of Glitch ROM here. And yeah, just another super cool work. Interesting colors, classic Hati Rocket text, GM, rad, totally. This is 3888, edition of 11. And this is Françoise Gamma with a cool work here. Two figures kind of joined together by this line here at every point as they continue to walk what seems to be together or towards each other. Rec, edition of 20 for 3 Tezos each, and Cap'n, or Figments, Buthermord number 007, really nice version here. Really nice piece. I don't think I can go bigger than that. So pretty cool. Kind of looks like a whole, kind of has a data feel to it, those old kind of data machines where nothing necessarily has to work. It just needs to kind of visually work, but it doesn't need to actually work. Very cool pixel art machine here from Cap'n using some of that old software used in the Figments series. Just very, very cool. This is 25 Tezos, edition of 10, and looking like it is sold out. Very nice piece. This is on secondary. Very nice kind of complete piece, you might say, a full piece. Air Force. This is Chaz, another arcade work, this time playing with the airplane game, jet fighter game. Probably something, I was going to say StarCraft, but I don't remember. But yeah, bringing me back to my youth here. Just another cool work here, edition of 10. And this is one sold to Gogolitis. Otherwise, I don't think it's listed, interestingly. Glitchtown Arcade with another cool Nintendo Glitch ROM. Should I stay or go? Let's make that big. And here we go. This is normal size. So kind of looking like Nintendo, doesn't it? One piece score, power, time. Not sure which game. Kind of vaguely looks like Mario, but not really, because this doesn't look like Mario. So not sure, and no clues in the... so we're selling quite a few of these. Oh, transferred. Interesting. So transferred maybe to previous collectors, probably. Interesting work by Kikilo. Again, playing off the video games. Dragon Hunt 2930. Kind of pixelated here. Almost feels like AI, but I don't think it is. So weird, interesting work that seems to use a screenshot of a video game, almost like a climactic part of the video game as subject matter for an artwork. Just kind of interestingly executed here, and then turning it into a fairly, painterly, for lack of a better term, work here. There's a lot of interpretation. It's kind of turning into, it's almost like an impressionistic pixel art interpretation of this game. The climax, one of the climaxes of this game, with this guy with the sword or the wand or the torch attacking the dragon here. Edition of 1, and that is 15 Tezos, reasonable price. Santiago Izakotl has been putting out a whole series. This is an animated SVG. And I believe I'm on Santiago's show, actually, tomorrow. I am going to confirm by message here. But anyway, interesting, great colors here. Interesting, I think, generative artwork, if I'm not mistaken. Here's a spiral. And if we go to Santiago's page here, you'll see, right, so playing off of this pattern and adding different, I think, different shapes and different colors within that pattern. So interesting work there. And here is Ranixdeer. Of course, with this great multicolor work here, I think from that series that is now on Foundation, just posted to X here. And Ranixdeer is going to be on the Spaces in February, I'm excited to announce. So that should be great and a lot of fun there too. Walk with a work, this is only a Tezos right now, at auction, continuing this September 11th, I believe, series here. And again, you can look up close and personal at all of the colorful, noisy artistry of Walk's work here. We're at 10:01. Epic series. Cats That Aren't Ours. This is, I think it's Ada Justin. There is another name I thought for this artist. So going under the title Adja Justin, and here we're seeing, I think this is made with Python by Adja Justin in 2024. I think we've seen other work by this artist under a different name, but using script or code to make the work. So interesting results here. More just interesting. I guess we would call this generative. And here's the series as it comes out. And here's another one, A Glimpse of Red. So a little bit more color in this one. And making these abstracts really out of text, interestingly. And so interesting work there, as you can see up close there. Continuing on, we have one more, Sinsin Lunch. And then we will continue running. So you see, actually, it kind of, interestingly, from a distance, it looks like it is kind of what I'd call maybe loose or just kind of more kind of painterly. But when you go up close, it's actually quite tight here. It is just, it looks like it's pure programming, interestingly. Made with Python. So New Kids on the Blockchain, I think, is the series, if I'm not mistaken, or the group. Mika Oladev, artifact number 76, as we continue to run through this week, an episode. Another nice, great work here by Mika Oladev, keeping it creative, these huge pixels. What I love about Mika Oladev's work is every time it's different. Every time, like, continues to push this, whatever, almost scientific, quasi-scientific project forward, and coming out with certain results and walking away with something, so to speak. Mika Oladev, this sold for 65 Tezos. Nice. To the Phoenix Art Gallery. Interesting. Edition of 1. Nice one. Renki, 55 Tezos. This is an edition of 1. Kind of also pushing things in a different direction here. Again, super prolific, putting out a work almost every day, I think. Interesting piece here by Renke, keeping it interesting. Here's Klaus, also keeping things interesting. Composition 97, beautifully textured here. So we're almost at 100. Maybe if we go to the page, we'll see 100 here. So another work here, and this one was burnt. There may be a newer version of it. And here, another one, composition 95. And this one, Selling to Illusion. I don't think, maybe we looked at this yesterday, but I don't think we did. This one looks a little different here. Let's just go to the page here and see what we're on. 97. So there's 96. Yeah, so look at how beautiful the page looks. I have to say, one of the great things about Object's new homepage and the infinite scroll is it's so much easier to go through people's work now. We can so easily see this entire series, can't we? Anyway, let's continue here. Salawaki with an interesting video piece here. Let me bring the music in. So it's a minute and a half, so we won't be able to see the whole thing, but we're going to try and see what we can here. It's almost like an AI or CGI version of the Salawaki character. Touching grass, getting away from the computer. So pretty nicely done. Nice music too. It's hard to stop this thing. Maybe that's where we stop. There we go. I went sunbathing. I think we're gonna... Okay, so there we go. Scrolling through the rest of this. Touching Grass. Cool work, and that is the title of the work. 50 Tezos, edition of 20, and quite a few have sold already. Maybe, is this sold out? No, selling out at 7 Tezos, I should say. It looks like it's sold out, which is, or actually has 18 owners, I should say. Edition of 20. Yeah, so nice work, Salawaki. Here, continuing on, Skamra with a beautiful AI work here. Again, looking like Stable Diffusion. No clear use of the computer, but just very interesting work, and I adore these colors here. Kind of a classic combo here of the yellow, the orange, the pink, and the white. Looks great. This is Guru Hyena, Curious Cities 45. I thought this was interesting. AI art piece here. Just kind of a different feel to it, isn't it? Doesn't it? Especially in this, you know, somewhat kind of metallic, what looks like almost like a pan or a kitchen object, but maybe like a helmet here. Just an interesting piece from Guru Hyena, edition of 1 for 10 Tezos. And here's another interesting work from No Hygiene, another kind of wild composition here, and kind of playing with video games and AI, just kind of a wild work. Let's just look at what No Hygiene is doing in the big picture here. As you see, the experimentation continues. You can get one of ones for pretty good price here, 8 or 9 Tezos, and a lot of them you sell here. So FYI, into the physical work we go. It's not a gallery. We've been pointing out how these guys feel very next generation here, or new generation. This is Massiege Kosh, and again, it's kind of got that humor here, combining Mike Tyson with what looks like the RoboCop robots from way back, you know, the first RoboCop. Here's Machine, also with an interesting, again, airbrush, Eric with Kittens. Maybe that's I'm not sure if that's a famous celebrity or not, but interesting depiction here, and the nice pink background. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Bondizo Bandido, putting in that kind of strong background color, painted color, and then contrasting that with the airbrushed interior. Anyway, all to say, nice composition and nice piece. Kelowna Contemporary won this bid here. Excited to have won the auction and add I No Follow 2023 by Chidi Berry Anidi to the Kelowna Permanent Collection. A really awesome painting here, bought for 0.2. Let me see if I can make that bigger. I thought a checkpoint here, and you almost get all the fear of this group here having to deal with this checkpoint. I thought a very powerful work with a lot of social commentary on it. I can see why Michele Colonna wanted to pick that up. Nice sale. This is at the show at Kelowna Contemporary Bear Studio and the New York City Collector who picked up this gem. Congratulations. $3,200 US dollars. So nice sale here. Come closer. So New York City Collector, $3,200. Nice sale. Nice work. I light a candle to cut through the dark atmosphere. I went by this scent again. Just a really awesome artist. And Isabella Di Sclafani, there's a new gouache painting section in my shop. So we looked at this artist's work the other day, and I thought just more interesting work here. So these are gouache, which is interesting. And of course, we've seen Louis Rossignol, and it looks like Jabba the Hutt and Princess Leia done in a really interesting way, just very loose and having a lot of fun, just kind of going with anything, seemingly, and it working. Really cool style. This was sent to me by Eloy. Or actually, Eloy just tagged this over, replied, and I put it in at the last second here. Eloy Chaperone. Thanks, Pocobelli. I want to show you something that includes this piece that caught your eye's radar. This series this piece is included in has turned into a physical book. I wonder what you who consistently dive into the depths of art will think of this project. Link below. So there is also a book here. So here is the cover here. You know what I thought about it? Or what thought traveled through my mind? I was in Dante's Inferno, where you start getting to the bottom where they're starting to eat each other. Cannibalism, which is quite spiritually interesting. We eat each other. It also makes you think of the Autumn Cannibals by Dali there. I mean, so that's when I start seeing kind of like heads being eaten. That is what's going through my head here. Other than that, nicely executed. Interesting, again, cannibalism, or maybe that's just a cup. I don't know, but it kind of has a bit of a, I'd say, interesting. It's a big theme, on a metaphoric and literal level. First tokenized book of Eloy, art by Eloy. So this is on collector.sh. So here it is. And so you can collect it. And I'm not sure which wallet or which blockchain this is on, but pretty cool and very nice video here. So pretty cool. Thanks for sending, Eloy, and looks interesting. Nicely executed here with this kind of very nice watercolor look. So very cool. And here is HP Lovebucks, Hulkster. Daily practice. So, of course, the artist who did Evel Knievel is now doing Hulk Hogan, a nice drawing here, a physical drawing, pencil drawing, graphite drawing here from HP Lovebucks. And that is your show, my friends. Thank you for joining me this week. I may experiment next week with, I might do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So let's see about that, because I want to make more art, and so I'm going to try with that. Anyway. Thank you for joining me once again. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We're going to keep improvising here. And until next time, take care.